day so far. Glad you can make us a part of it. We do have that risk to see more severe weather. We saw that last night just north of Calgary. Tornado warned cell tracking through. Throughout the late afternoon into your evening, there is that risk to see more severe weather, essentially just south of Fort McMurray toward Edmonton and then toward Grand Prairie as well. An isolated tornado not out of the question. Damaging winds as well as strong hail. As we look at this afternoon, 35 degrees in Medicine Hat. It certainly is going to be hot. That continues right through your Friday and then even into your weekend. As we approach Monday, Tuesday, we get a little bit of a cool day, a little bit more confined or under control. Others not so much. There's more details also on our website at theweathernetwork.com. Chrissy Van has been out there on scene. Thousands are still evacuated as well. Unfortunately, as you can tell here with the precip, it's not really going to those areas that are dealing with wildfires. It's just confined further to the north and those coastal sections. So areas like Prince George are seeing some showers, and then north of that or along the coastal sections. Into your Monday, there is that slight risk to see some showers. Also, though, there is the risk to see some thunderstorms. So something we'll definitely be keeping an eye on here. 25 degrees in London this afternoon, 20 in Toronto. We do have that risk to see some severe weather as well. We'll touch on that in a second. But first, Emily was out at Bronte Creek Provincial Park. All right, awesome stuff. Thanks, Emily, for that. And you know, Bronte Creek is not too far away from the city. If you don't want to head north and head up to those provincial parks, it's not too far away. There is that risk, though, to see some thunderstorms. We saw that earlier on, and essentially that risk is there throughout the day today and then into your evening, potentially severe. Isolated tornado is a risk as well, because we do have the winds coming from different directions, adding into that lift a little bit more. So again, something we'll watch here. Throughout the east, pretty nice day, though. Into Newfoundland, a little bit gusty, however, a mix of sun and cloud. And into your Friday, it's looking good as well. Notice that high pressure moving in. That's always good news. Your temperatures as well are pretty nice across the east. Definitely take advantage of today. 27 in Calgary. This is ahead into your Friday. 25 in Vancouver, 23 in Montreal, and 23 in St. John's, Newfoundland, as well as in Toronto. Into Friday, there is that risk for southern Ontario to also see some active weather. Your local forecast starts now. Well, we've been talking a lot about flooding conditions across portions of southern Ontario. This photo is a look at Woodstock from a little bit earlier on today. So as you can tell, some pooling on the roadway there. We received a heavy rain already throughout this morning, depending on where you are across southern Ontario. But that risk is definitely there throughout the afternoon and then into your evening hours as well. We're likely to see more bursts of heavy rainfall move through and potentially severe weather as well. As we show you the energy associated with these storms, it really is further to the southwest that we're seeing the bulk of that into your evening hours as well. That shifts further to the west, but really something to keep in mind if you are heading out, maybe you're driving, commuting home later this evening, definitely be prepared for that. Into the prairies, also a whole lot of energy forming toward the Cold Lake area, just along the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan. So Edmonton, Cold Lake, even toward Grand Prairie, something to keep in mind. That's later in the day, late afternoon into your evening hours. Yet again, more active weather and the heat continues. But in BC, provincial state of emergency does continue. Wildfires as well as thousands evacuated. We've had Chrissy Van on the scene. Let's get an update. All right, exactly. Thank you, Chrissy, for that update. And exactly as she mentioned, definitely have to take care and definitely remember that conditions are so dry and they do continue to be dry. Unfortunately, the rain that's showing up here is really just north of Prince George. Showers for Prince George, but just south of there, Williams Lake, no rain for you. And those wildfire areas are staying hot as well. The heat has definitely continued to build. We saw a brief cool down for portions of the prairies, but the BC interior is remaining hot as well. And of course, the temperatures back into the prairies are up there as well. Dangerous heat. We're talking into the low 30s with the humidex. In some areas of the prairies, it's warm, but the relative humidity into parts of the BC interior is really low. So, of course, that's not doing any good for the wildfire situation. Playing through a future radar, so you saw some showers a little bit earlier on, but then it really just clears out, shaping to be a nice Friday and as well a nice Saturday. If you do have plans, well, good news, the temperatures are there as well. Our systems for Friday, the rain will linger throughout portions of Ontario, and the heat will continue across portions of the prairies. Your regional forecast starts now. Our Long Ranger is when we come back. Happy to have you along with us. Shannon Bradbury here with you at the Weather Network. Temperatures are hot across portions of the prairies. 30 degrees in Calgary this afternoon, 29 in Regina. We also have the risk for some severe weather. 20 in Toronto, though. That east wind cooling things off throughout the GTA, but there is the risk with those winds converging to see some active weather. Also across areas into central Alberta, into portions of Saskatchewan as well. But the bulk of that energy appears to be toward the Cold Lake, south toward Edmonton, and then west toward Grand Prairie. An isolated tornado not out of the question. Damaging hail and strong winds will be the main threats. That's later on in the day and then into your evening hours. Also throughout Ontario, isolated severe. We saw thunderstorms rolling through earlier on throughout the day, and that risk does continue throughout the day and then into your evening hours as well. Also an isolated tornado, strong winds and heavy rain. And as I mentioned, those winds converging gives that a little bit of added lift. So something we will continue to watch to see if that isolated tornado really becomes a main threat. As we play this through into your Friday, lingering showers as well as they spread further to the southeast in towards Halifax. Your Long Ranger starts now. Well, the heat and the dry conditions are certainly not doing the wildfires in BC, or the crews battling the wildfires in BC, any good. That continues. Our provincial state of emergency also does continue. Here's Chrissy Van with an update. All right, thank you, Chrissy. You know, a little bit of good news there. The smoke has eased in some sections, but unfortunately the weather is not helping really. Areas further to the north are seeing some rainfall, but areas that are dealing with the wildfires are still staying pretty dry. But as we look ahead a little bit in the long range into Monday, there is that risk that we could see some showers to those areas that are dealing with the wildfires. So that is good news. The bad news is that could be associated with some thunderstorms, something we will watch though. Into portions of Alberta and to Saskatchewan as well, that risk for thunderstorm. This is later on into the afternoon and into your evening hours. We saw thunderstorms rolling through last night, really the night before that as well. It's been an active week. Just north of Calgary, a tornado warned cell. So areas like Cold Lake, south toward Edmonton are the areas to watch. That's where we're seeing the bulk of that energy. And again, later on in the day, isolated tornado is a risk though. The heat though has certainly returned a little bit earlier on in the week. Calgary, you were about 17, 18 degrees at one point. We are right back up there again, about 30 degrees today, and into tomorrow where high temperatures are high too. But next week we see a little bit of relief in terms of those temperatures for portions of the prairies. Also some severe weather we are watching into Ontario. Some showers further to the north as well, Sault Ste. Marie towards Sudbury, and then even northwestern Ontario saw some showers as well. That's going to ease for your Friday. But meanwhile, further south, the potential is there for some active weather later on again tonight. So areas further to the southwest are seeing the bulk of that energy later on in the day, but there's not ruling out that we could see some thunderstorms popping up throughout this afternoon. We already saw that throughout the morning hours for some across Ontario. Some rain for the most part throughout the day today, but slight showers into your Friday. It's going to be a nice day. Saturday, the slight risk for some showers further to the south into Halifax. Your local forecast starts now. Well, the ingredients are there to have more severe weather again this afternoon and into your evening hours. This is a look at the areas that we are going to continue to watch. South of Fort McMurray, but Edmonton, just north of there, likely to see heavy rain. We could see flash flooding rains. And then south of there is the possibility to see a few tornadoes develop. An isolated tornado, one of those main threats. So something we will continue to watch. Winds could be gusting over 100 kilometers per hour at times. So damaging winds. And also we're talking golf ball sized hail, if not larger than that. So really something to keep on your radar. 30 degrees in Calgary this afternoon, 28 in Edmonton. It is hot. 35 in Medicine Hat. The heat's going to continue for your Friday. 31 in Medicine Hat, 27 in Saskatoon, and 29 in Winnipeg. But come your Monday, Tuesday, we actually get a little bit of a brief cool down. It's not going to last too long, but it is certainly going to be a little bit of a brief cool down. Into portions of the BC interior, their central portions. Williams Lake, just north of there, we're seeing some showers, but south of there, unfortunately, it just continues to be dry as well as hot, so not doing any good. The winds compared to yesterday have died down a bit, so that is good news. However, the relative humidity is still low and the temperatures are still hot. We do have the risk into Monday to see some showers as well, though. With that is the risk to see some lightning, so we'll continue to monitor that. Into Ontario, we've seen heavy rain throughout this morning. That continues into your afternoon and then even into your evening as well. This is a look outside Woodstock. Someone sent us this photo in, so of course You can tell there's some pooling and ponding on the roadways there, going to be a factor for many areas into the Niagara region as well. Isolated severe towards southwestern Ontario, and isolated tornado is a threat. Essentially, we have those converging winds adding into that lift a little bit. So if you haven't downloaded your app just yet, definitely do so you can get those Weather Network alerts as they become evident. All right, the Honda Toronto Indy this weekend. Here's Kelly with your forecast. All right, awesome. Thank you, Kelly, for that. As we look at the east, it's shaping up to be a nice afternoon. We saw some showers a little bit earlier on. Into your Friday, also a nice day. A little bit breezy today across portions of Newfoundland. And then notice areas further to the south are going to see some rainfall, but that is really not until really comes Saturday. So Friday shaping up to be a nice day as well. Mix of sun and cloud. Definitely get outside and enjoy it. The temperatures are there as well. 31 degrees and sunny in Regina for Friday. 23 in St. John's, Newfoundland, and also sunny. 23 in Montreal. The risk for a thunderstorm is there. Stay with us. Your regional forecast starts now. All right, awesome stuff. Thank you, Nathan, for that update. Glad you could join us. Shannon Bradbury here with you. As we look at the east, it's a pretty nice day. Saw some showers a little bit earlier on, but into your Friday, high pressure is building in. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous day. Your temperatures are there as well. It's a little bit breezy across Newfoundland a little bit earlier on today, but into your Saturday is where we could see some showers building up into the south coast of Nova Scotia and then even into portions of New Brunswick, but that's not till Saturday. Into Ontario, the risk for severe weather is there. We're showing you these winds. Look at over in Michigan, what's happening there, but essentially we're seeing a little bit of an east wind over portions of Lake Ontario and then a west wind, so that wind convergence is where we could see some active weather building up, giving it that added lift. So we will watch for an isolated tornado throughout the day and then into your evening hours. Temperature-wise this evening, 19 degrees in Toronto. The rain will continue. The risk for a thunderstorm will continue as well, on and off. 23 in London, 19 in Barrie, and 18 in Peterborough. Further north, 20 in Sudbury, pretty overcast, and the showers continue on and off as well for Sault Ste. Marie, even into northwestern Ontario as well. As we look at this afternoon across the country, 30 degrees in Calgary. It's hot. 28 in Edmonton, another area that we are watching for some severe weather. Wind gusts could exceed 100 kilometers per hour. We essentially have instability sitting over central portions of Alberta. So Cold Lake south toward Edmonton. North of Edmonton, likely to see the heavy rainfall. Then south of there, as we are watching for some tornadic activity throughout this afternoon and then into your evening as well. Into the BC fire danger rating. So areas highlighted in that red there sitting still at that extreme rating. The winds gusty yesterday. They have eased slightly throughout the day today, but meanwhile it continues to be hot and dry.